Week's People session, and thanks to Smorry, who is somewhere in the room, there he is, over there, for facilitating the workshop session. We came up with the 3 slides that we were asked to come up with, because we're obedient types. You can read the challenge up there. My reflection on our conversation about the challenge was that we had a strong sense that something wasn't right, but that varied from, democracy is a system that could be made better in many different ways, but it's still a good system, right the way through to representative democracy is not where it's at. It's all about flexible, liquid participation, right the way through to somebody who said, "Oh, democracy, they're rubbish, don't want to see it, want to abolish power structures completely." So lots and lots of different views were expressed. But I think what we tried to get to was a set of different ideas that came out of the visioning session that were useful to people in the unconference and the rest of the day and in future conversations in terms of carrying on a conversation about improving democracy. So that was the challenge that we saw. I'll have to take questions afterwards. Then the next slide is the stakeholders, which you won't be surprised to learn when it comes to democracy is everybody. But can you do the next slide? Yeah, so everybody is government, public administration, civil society. The one thing I'd say from our conversation here is that we were very, very concerned to ensure that it wasn't just an up and down sort of democracy where people and government talk to each other about government things. It was also about creating a democracy of relationships and an openness to citizen action as much as citizen to state and state to citizen. So that was our point on stakeholders. So the solution. Now, I'm not going to pretend that this slide is the solution. This slide is the 3 areas that we would want to push forward work on. I just want to talk a little bit about each one. The first comes from a group of issues that people raised, a group of concerns, about the fact that it's quite hard to get people through the door. You can create the best kind of open democracy system and the best platform for democracy, but if people don't want to take part in it, they don't want to take part in it, and there you are. We need to try to infuse people with the desire to participate and give them the tools and the skills to participate, as much as creating platform after platform after platform, which does no one any good. But the second one comes from a desire to make the decisions better by making them broader. I think it's, I've learned from conversations, including with elected politicians, that you always have to make the case for democracy. You can't just say, democracy, that's a good thing, isn't it? You have to make a case as to why better participation and openness and better engagement are going to produce better results. And one of the most important cases for me is that at the moment the conversation around democracy is limited to quite a small number of people, and we came up with lots of different ways to make the decisions better by making the conversation broader and more accurate, using open data, fact-checking websites, better public understanding of what's being decided. And finally, we thought, we had in the room 4, 5 people who were developing e-democracy platforms or systems of some sort or another. And that's fine, that's great, that's kind of democratic capitalism. But the thing that I tried to pull out of the conversation here was we all wanted to carry on the conversation. We all felt that we came from different cultural perspectives, different countries with different histories of democracy. I'm English, half Polish, but lived in England, and the English system of democracy is miles away from what you see in Belgium or in Italy. There are lots of similarities. There are also lots of differences in the style and in the approach. And we felt we could learn from the way in which different countries and different cultures handle democracy. But most importantly, we felt we had to keep the relationships going and keep the interactions between those different platforms and different approaches open. Because the last thing we want to see is a Facebook of democracy, where there is a corporate control or even an organisational control of the way in which people are behaving civically and the way in which they are behaving democratically. And so we want to create an internet of open connections, of open data, of collaboration between different platforms, so that you can use the tool you want to be civic and to be democratic, rather than come to the democracy platform or else. Thanks.